Here are the story times of my first and last dates. Basically, first dates that were so fucking horrible, they never had a second date. This first one will forever be my biggest, what the fuck date was that? A couple years ago, I celebrated New Year's in Miami with one of my best friends. We had no New Year's Eve plans heading into Miami. We were like, whatever is meant for us, we'll find us, whatever like that. But I did make us both download Hinge and put the age range to pretty fucking old just because old men got it going on in Miami, to say the least. So I matched with this man, and he's telling me everything I want to hear. And he's like, you know what, come on my yacht when you're in Miami. I'm like, yeah, of course, you're going to see my ass on your yacht, of course. But it's the day before New Year's Eve. We still have no plans, and we're like, we don't know what the fuck we're going to do, but we'll figure it out. So the man's texting me about me being his New Year's kiss, and I'm like, yeah, I'd love to be your New Year's kiss, whatever. Also, he was like an NFL player. He was very attractive too. He was cute. I was like, it wasn't like I was dating a fucking grandpa in Miami. No, he was pretty cute, whatever. And he was like, I want you to be my New Year's kiss. I was like, of course, babe. But in the back of my head, I'm like, we need to fucking do something for New Year's Eve. So yeah, whatever. And he's like, I have you and your best friend. I have tickets for the both of you guys for this rooftop event in Miami. And I'm like, okay, perfect. My best friend and I are so excited that we have plans for New Year's Eve that I'm not even realizing that this is going to be my first date with this man on New Year's fucking Eve. And I really do not know this man well at all. So bold fucking move on my end. Day comes, I'm like, whatever, I can talk to a brick fucking wall. I can talk to this man the whole entire night. Also, he's cute, I'm low-key interested. And I wasn't that nervous because I was literally I can talk to a brick fucking wall for hours. I genuinely talk to myself. So I'm like, everything will be fine, everything will be well. We get there, I start talking to this man. We have no fucking chemistry. And I'm like, great, it's New Year's fucking Eve and I have to talk to this man for hours. And I immediately, we have no fucking chemistry. Also, to make things 35 times worse, he was trying to flirt with me, and he was like, are you wearing underwear with your dress? And guys, honestly, normally I'm never wearing underwear. I just hate underwear. But thank the fucking gods that I was this day. He grabs my vajayjay, and I was like, okay, this is so uncomfortable. He was trying to be sexy with it, and I was like, okay, no, we literally met 10 minutes ago, and this man just grabbed my vajayjay, and now I'm stuck with him this entire fucking night. But I'm I fucking refuse to ring in my New Year on a bad note. No, we're gonna have a good fucking time if it's the last thing I do. Go to part 2. So whatever, we're still hanging out. It's still pretty awkward because we have absolutely no chemistry. And I just keep thinking about the fact that this man asked me to be his New Year's kiss, and I'm gonna have to kiss this man. I'm gonna have to fucking kiss this man. Mind you, while all of this is happening, my best friend is the Bachelor boys were there. And I don't watch The Bachelor, but the Bachelor boys were there. So every 10 minutes, she's coming up with a new Bachelor boy being this is right, and just starts making out with him in front of me and this man. But honestly, I'm glad one of us had a good night. She definitely had a good fucking night. But in the back of my head, I'm still fucking anxious because I'm oh my God, I have to kiss this man at midnight. And midnight's creeping up, and I'm holy fuck, It's an open bar rooftop, so still having a good time, still hanging out with my best friend and whatever Bachelor boy she was making out with at that moment. Clock strikes midnight, and I look over, and that man starts making out with his best friend. And I'm oh, that's so awkward. Where he's right next to me, and then right next to her as well. And I'm he just starts making out with her, and I'm oh, this is so weird. Am I interrupting something? This is so fucking weird. But then I grab my best friend, and she's let's go to this party. The Bachelor boys are having a party. I'm okay, fine, let's go to the fucking party. And I leave with the Bachelor boys. I didn't even say anything to that man because I'm that was just so fucking awkward. I just watched you make out with your best friend, who I'm almost positive had a boyfriend. Listen, I will never celebrate a national holiday with a new man, on a first date ever again in my entire life. I don't give a fuck what the circumstances are. Because now I think about that New Year's, and I'm that was so fucking weird. And the man had the nerve to text me and be oh, where did you end up going? I saw you leave with the Bachelor boys. And I was babe, let's stop lying. We have absolutely no chemistry, and I just watched you make out with your best friend right in front of me. We don't need to act like anything is happening here. Keep it fucking moving. And that was the last time I saw that man. My next last date was also a horrible fucking, of course, it was just horrible. I was distant friends with this one man for years, and he was let me take you on a date, let me take you on a date. I'm okay, perfect. So I let him take me on a brunch date. Number one, this brunch date was 45 minutes away from where I am. It was like the classic story of like the man picks a place right near his apartment so he can like go and like try and fuck you after. But like I thought nothing of this. I was like, Livy, you're not dating. I was like scared to date at the time, so because I had just been essayed, so I was like, I don't want to go on these dates. So I was like, just whatever, Livy, like go on the fucking date. Like you need to put yourself out there. We can't hide in our bedroom forever. I'm on this date with this man and I'm like, I low-key don't fuck with this man. I'm like, we just don't really have any chemistry. Thought we would because we were friends, but I'm like, no, like, I'm good. Like, I don't really like this. But I'm like, I don't know how to leave early, and it ended up being, like, a fucking 2-hour date. He obviously asked me to come over after. I'm like, no, wait, like, I gotta go home. Like, no, thank you. I get home, and this man starts blowing my phone the fuck up. This man's blowing my phone up like, oh my God, let's have a movie night. Let's do all these things. Like, let me come over. Let's hang out. This man really just, like, wanted to fuck very badly. I was like, I have never met someone so fucking horny in my life. And I was like, no, like, sorry, like, I don't have men in my apartment. He's like, well, then you can come to mine. Like, come on, let's do something. And I'm like, brunch was not that fucking good that you expect me to, like, deep throat the shit out of you. Like, brunch was not that fucking good, babe. Like, relax. And he keeps on blowing my phone up. I eventually just started ignoring the fuck out of him because I'm like, okay, I have absolutely nothing to say to this man. Like, we're good here. There's nothing for me to fucking say. I'm not coming over and he isn't either. I wake up the next day to videos of this man on Snapchat in gray sweatpants. Like, he was just sending me his bulge in gray sweatpants on Snapchat the entire night while I was fucking sleeping. I was like, what the fuck? Ew. And then later that day, that man deleted me on Snapchat. Honestly, like, thank fucking God he did. But those are some of the story times of my first and last dates with these weird motherfuckers.
This is a story time of the time me and my brother bailed my mom out of jail. I've done a lot of story times about my mom. I've done a lot of story times about my brother. So why not just do a whole story time about us three as a little trio? Also, peep the new headband. I know. Adorable. About a year ago, my mom decided that she was going to turn herself in for the warrant she had out for her arrest. I know you guys are like, what the fuck? So considering the fact that I've done a story time about the time I had a warrant out for my arrest, the apple does not fall far from the tree, baby. Basically, my mom has like a little bit of mental illness and she was going through a time in her life and someone tried her and she simply had to beat the girl's ass. It wasn't even a matter of my mom being wrong. Like, this girl started beating up my mom, so my mom whooped her ass worse and she just happened to call the police first. Basically, my mom never really took care of it because she was going through stuff. And then one day when she was living at my house, she was just kind of like, you know what? I think I want to get this off my record. I was so anxious about it and she really, really wanted to just get it over with because who wants that on their name? So I was like, yeah, mom, like, I'll go with you to turn you into jail. Like, we'll go together. Like, it's a family affair. It was like a Tuesday night and we were like, let's drop you off at night so that you're there for the night and then you can leave in the morning. And she's like, okay. She's so anxious, freaking the fuck out. And my mom is a smoker, so we're just kind of like, how the hell is she gonna go without her bologna cigarettes? Like, they're so gross. They smell like bologna. We go and we literally cannot find the entrance to this jail. We're like, if we can't find the entrance, then God doesn't want us to do this tonight. We're like walking all around Googling things, like, where the fuck do we get into this jail? And then finally we figured it out. And my mom's just puffing her cigarette like, I'm not gonna have another one for like a day or two or whatever it might be. My poor mother, like, literally, my mom does not deserve this. Like, she's such a good fucking person. Like, she did not deserve to have to go through this. So finally we find the spot and we're like, okay, like, saying our goodbyes. We're like crying even though it's gonna be 24 hours, like as if she's going to prison for 12 years. She's like, baby, as soon as I get my first phone call, I'm gonna call you. Like, I'm gonna tell you how to bail me out. Like, all this stuff. So the next day comes around and she's like, okay, you guys can bail me out. Like, yay, like, I'm out of here, babe. Mind you, my poor mother's like acting all institutionalized. She's acting like she'd been there for 10 years, but really had been like one night. So then my brother calls me and he's like, it's my birthday. Like, let's go get lit. And I'm like, oh yeah, we can, but like, we gotta go bail mom out of jail first real quick. And he's like, oh yeah, like, let's go do it. Like, come get me and we'll go bail mom out. My brother's in for anything. Like, I could call him and be like, we gotta go light this house on fire. He would be so down. So I pick him up and we go to like the service center where like you bail people out and like give them the money. And I don't have a valid ID at the time. I didn't even have a license and I also had a warrant out for my arrest. So I was like, please don't ask my fucking name. We go up to the service center. We're like, oh yeah, we're bailing out Antonia. And then they're like, is this her? And they show us my mother's mugshot. And I will say my mom was slaying in that little mugshot. She was boots down the house. She was absolutely camp. But because I didn't have an ID, my brother actually had to use his ID and bail her out himself. And ultimately what I have to say is like, if you don't have a friend that would bail your mom out of jail, then they're not your friend. I think every friend I have right now would bail my mother out of jail. And I love that. And then we all got lunch and we went out for his birthday and we never had to worry about it again. So yeah, my mother is just that bitch. She takes a really good mugshot and my brother is the most loyal person in the world. Love you guys. Bye.
Am I the bad guy here for objecting to my sister marrying my cousin? We're half sisters with different fathers. My cousin is on my dad's side, so they're not related. But since I'm related to both of them, I find it gross. I told my sister I didn't like it when they first started dating, and she said it was just a hookup and didn't matter. Still gross, but I could live with it. Well, she lied. They continued dating and now engaged. As soon as they announced it, I called them out for being disgusting. Some family members have since changed their tune and agree with me, including my mom. My dad unfortunately is on the fence and thinks I should sit back and see how it goes. My sister thinks I'm a jerk though, that I need to get over it since they share no blood. They miss that it's unusual. It's the way that it's meant to be. They won't let me ruin it. Cousin thinks the same thing and wants to go no contact until